Hey everybody, Corey from AquariumCoop.com. Today we're at Tazawa's Tanks and we're doing a fish room tour. We did one about a year, maybe a little more than that.
Last summer.
Now it's grown, but he's changed the whole thing, so we're going to talk about it. All right, so it looks like we've got like a 75-gallon here with an Oscar, and there's like a long legacy of this thing, yeah?
Yes, there's a long story with this tank. I have an aquarium service business, and this fish belonged to one of my customers. I went there one time to service the tank and saw that they had this fish with a huge wound on his head. And the guy said, hey, can you take him home and heal him for me? I wasn't sure if he was going to live. Nursed him back to health, brought him back to my customer. As soon as I put him back in the tank, he got hit by a red devil that was in that tank.
Oof.
And I said, he can't stay in here like this. He's going to get hurt again. So he said, can you keep him for me? So came back home. I had him in a 40 breeder, and then I got him to 75, and he's been here ever since. The funny thing with this tank is you can see there's an African cichlid in there that wasn't supposed to be. It's a very odd pairing. So I have a ton of African cichlids in this room, which you'll see shortly. And I was moving some very young fry that were only maybe a week or two old. And there was one that was stuck on a net. I happened to put the net in here because I was, I think, feeding them some snails or something. And the fish, about 2 or 3 weeks later, I saw this little tiny African cichlid in this tank hiding in the plant. Yeah. And I said, well, I can't catch him. He's probably going to get eaten. And here he is. He's, you know, growing up and probably, he's a male, so that's kind of cool to...
What's the deal with the things surrounding the sponge filter?
Yep, so Oscar likes to bite the sponge filter. Huh. So that's just a way to protect the sponge filter from getting chewed on from Oscar. And so one time I came into the tank and there were little bits of foam floating around, so came up with a little fix.
What do we got down below?
Down below, these are just Juvenile Mbuna. I don't remember how old they are, but
about 2 or 3 months.
No, they're probably 5 months old now, maybe. Yeah, 4 to 5 months. So they're just down here in 10s, and then I've got another row over there with more.
Yeah, and you, if I remember right, last time you sell these to stores when you raise them up?
Yeah, so I sell these to stores and I sell them wholesale, so you know you're not making much money on them, but I don't do it for the money. I just do it because it's fun to breed fish. And then what I like to do is I like to keep a few that I feel would look good in my display tank. So in this tank, if this guy were to grow up, he might look good, the one with the poop hanging out. So every once in a while you'll see some kind of cool ones that come out, because I'm not selectively breeding for a certain kind, even though I've got dragon bloods in here. But sometimes I have like OBs and just whatever. So I just like to see what happens and what turns out. And then in the meantime, you know, the amount of money that I make from selling my fish, I can pays for all my fish food and all the things that I have to buy, my buffers, and you know, things that I also use for the service business as far as dechlorinators and things like that.
So since the last time, because I'll link the video of the last one we did, what has changed in the fish room compared to the way it was running? Okay,
so last time I think I had maybe a dozen tanks down here. They were all running on individual, well, they were running on air, but I was using like the small air pumps. Yeah. Now I've got the central air system, so that's new. It's off right, well, it's not off, but it's pretty quiet. Yeah. And the other thing is I used to heat each tank individually with heaters. So I've actually got like a big drawer full of heaters here that I don't use. So I can probably sell those at auction. Use them for any emergency. So these were actually some fish I got for free recently.
I love Congo tetras.
I've never kept them before. I want to put them in a bigger tank so I can get more and have them kind of swim back and forth. I just stuck them in there because I didn't have any place to put them.
Sure.
But they came with this tank here. So it's kind of a mess. This is a 90-gallon acrylic tank that I got for free.
And I think you just did a video about this,
I
right?
did. Yeah. So it was scratched to hell by the preschool kids. It was at a preschool, at a daycare. And they gave it to me along with all the stuff it came with. And I was just going to use it as like as a grow-out tank for cichlids or something, and figured let me try to polish it out. So I took some headlight polish for your car and buffed out a little section as a trial. So it worked well. So one of these weekends when I have time, I'll do the whole thing and wash it out and rinse it and
Nice.
build a stand for it. And then I'm going to do...
What is it, like 100 gallon or something?
90.
Or
90
okay.
gallons. So this will end up being some kind of display tank. I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say it yet.
Yeah,
but
save it
I'm
for...
not sure who's moving where, but there'll be some cool stuff.
Because if you don't know, he has his own YouTube channel with videos coming out all the time, so I don't want to ruin his content for everyone.
Yeah, twice a week, Design takes. These are new, so I made a video about this, which was kind of went, little viral for me.
Did well for your channel.
Did well for my channel, and these are 55-gallon tubs that you get from Home Depot. They come with like the yellow lids. Well, they couldn't find the lids when I went to buy them, so they gave me one for free, and one was discounted. And they hold 55 gallons. I got it for 20 bucks total for the two of them.
Nice.
So it's kind of hard to see in here right now because of the agitation, but there's probably 50 cichlids in here. You can see.
Oh wow,
there.
So does this grow out?
They'll grow out. Yeah, they grow out in here, and then if there's one or two that I like, I'll keep them, and then I'll sell the rest at wholesale.
So you clean tanks as well. How many of the clients end up with African cichlids? Like, is it? Do you end up, oh really?
Yeah. So I don't have any African cichlid customers.
Weird.
Yeah.
I thought for sure, like, oh, I'm raising them. I can just sell them the cichlids too.
I've done African cichlids like one-off jobs and moving tanks and stuff like that, but none of my regular customers keep Africans. Community fish, South American fish, big cichlids, things like that. So yeah.
I would have thought for sure.
So these are all females.
Okay.
So any fry that I have came from one of these.
I feel like that's a lot of color for a female dragon blood, right?
And I thought it was a male.
Yeah.
And actually the first time I discovered she was a female was when you were here last year.
Okay.
And she was holding. She didn't successfully hold. So I put her back with the males. And then she held again. And so I pulled her back out and she spit. And so she's the mom of those actually. So yeah, she's the matriarch. She's the tank boss in there. But
that could be a really
females.
good line.
Yeah. She's nicely colored. So a lot of times what I'll do, because I'm not selectively breeding, and I know it makes some people go crazy, but I'll throw whatever male I want from upstairs down here, and then I'll just kind of see what comes out. Sometimes it's red shoulder, blues, and OBs. And then down there is more grow out fry. So these will probably be sold within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Now, do you have to sell them that big? Like, will the store buy them younger, or
they don't like them smaller?
Okay.
They prefer them to be bigger because they have to resell them. So they like them to be larger, so they're showing some color and easier to sell. Yeah. And then they get more money for them when they're larger, and they pay about the same price. So.
What if you let me ask? What do you get roughly? What could someone at home, depending where they were, a 3-inch peacock
wholesale? To a store? To
a store, yeah. What do you think people around the country might get? I mean, obviously every part of the country is going to be different.
I would say less than $3 a fish.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say on average probably $2, $2.25.
Okay.
For like peacocks that are 2.5 inches or so, and Mbuna probably $1.50 to $2, depending on what kind.
What do we got going over here?
So this was.
This seems out of place.
Yeah. So this was. This is the oldest tank that I have in here, so I've had this tank the longest.
Okay.
Joel was actually making a joke about how everyone's oldest tank's a bow front. But it's done a lot of things over the years. It was a community tank, and then I had some rams in there before. Then I stripped it all the way down and did a Shelly tank with my multis in there.
Okay.
So it was all like aragonite and rock work, and then made it back into a community tank. Was doing a lot of guppies, then I'm doing platies and mixture of endlers, and so it's just something
to play with, yeah.
Something to play with. I was kind of experimenting with the platies before. This tank here, as you can see, these guys are showing some color. So these are all fry that I've grown.
Okay.
And I've picked the best looking ones. So you can see that dragon blood, that male is pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
And he was just like a fry like the other guys. He's obviously the tank boss in here. And then I've just selected those that I feel have some promise, and we'll see how those go. And then
And do they get to go upstairs into the show tanks?
they'll probably go upstairs, or if I decide not to keep it, then I'll sell it as a larger colored up male, and in that case, you know, you can make more money, obviously, or sell it at auction or something.
And what we got down here? Fry?
Fry and so these are dragon blood fry that are probably about 5 weeks spit, and then these ones have all been spit within the last 2 or 3 weeks. So there's a
you're
whole
cranking
bunch.
out quite a few,
yeah. So what I'll do is I'll make a bunch, and then when I figure I've got a lot and I need to stop, then I pull the males out and I keep the males and the females separate. And then when I feel like I need a batch again, then I'll let them breed. So
nice. And what keeps you from making this? I'm going to get on this side so we can film it over here. What keeps it from making a bigger fish room? Like, because you could make more babies.
I could. I mean, there's room. I think it's time.
Okay.
You know, between all the things with my regular job and traveling and weightlifting, and there's only so much I can do. And
is that a betta down there?
Yeah, that's from Jeanne and Glorious Bettas.
Oh, is it one she bred, or?
No, it was part of her experiment when she was working at the university last year. And she had to get rid of it, so I just stuck them in there. So
there you go.
I like, sometimes I've done more bettas, because it keeps the sponge filter cycled.
Oh, all right.
So not a huge bio load, but for fry it's fine.
Now I suppose it's about time to see the display tanks upstairs.
Yeah, we'll go upstairs, check it out.
All right. All right, so what are we looking at here?
This is my 75-gallon Malawi tank, peacocks and some small haps. A mixture, and I don't like claiming the species of any of them or the genus, because you never know for sure when you're getting them from a fish store that's getting them from a farm.
Yeah, even if they're pure, you don't know if they're pure.
But, you know, I just enjoy that. I love the color. I love the activity. The aggression leaves a little to be desired for some people. It's, you know, hard to stomach if you're not, you know, ready
What's the family think of this one?
I think for the family, this is their favorite because it's the most colorful.
Oh.
Also, anytime we have any guests or visitors, they like to see this tank the most if they're not a fish person.
Sure.
Fish people like other tanks, but this tank is the most intriguing to people that don't know a lot about fish because it's just so colorful and so active.
Is that salt water?
Right. Yeah. I get that all the time. No, this is freshwater. Because people think freshwater, they think guppies and goldfish, right?
Yep.
But you have to explain to them that these are freshwater fish. Tons of filtration, canister filter, sump, and hang on the back. The sump is really the main filtration, and it's got a big pothos plant.
That is a giant pothos.
Growing all the way around the back and everywhere.
Even in the pot, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then, how often do you have to like water change this thing?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot of bio loads. So I was testing for a while on the parts per million on the nitrates, and I like to keep it below 40. So twice a week is what I like to do. About every 3 to 4 days.
How much water each time?
Like 70%.
Whoa, that is a lot.
Yeah, but you know, they're messy.
Yeah.
Big eaters and big poopers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, what do we got? This is my favorite tank. So what do we got over here?
This is my favorite tank too. This is the Tanganyikan tank. So Shelley's multis, Neolamprologus multifasciatus, and some Burchardi in there. I did have Cyprichromis in here before, the Leptosomas, but they didn't make it. They kind of disappeared one by one. I think they just got outcompeted by the Shelleys.
You have more Shelleys than like any wholesaler or anything I've seen. Do you sell these to the stores?
I sell these privately, not to the store.
Okay.
Because I make a lot of money from these guys.
Nice.
I sell these at auction. At auction, you know, they'll go, and a lot of money, like $8 a piece.
That's good compared to the other Africans you're breeding.
It looks like a lot, but this is already depleted by like 30 adults because I sold over like the last maybe 3 months. I've sold about 30 fish out of here.
Yeah.
And they keep making more. So
how big is this tank?
It's 60.
Okay, so it's really tall.
Yeah. So it's the same width and length as a 55, but just taller.
Okay.
And then I think it just looks taller because of the background and the
stand. Yeah, where'd you get that background?
I made it. That's a DIY background.
Did you do a video on it?
I didn't.
Oh no.
It was way before I was doing much video.
Okay.
And, I tried and.
Do they go back behind the cage?
Yeah,
and
so there's a whole like life behind the background because the filtration's behind there, the intake and the outtake for the canister filter, the heaters back there. I'm running air back there as well.
Huh. So
there's all kinds of fish on the backside, and then you can see like they'll swim in and out
yeah.
the holes and yeah, this tank has evolved into almost like a biotope, you know, and
yeah.
It's always a good sign when your fish breed.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Shawleys are pretty easy to breed. The Brochardies are spawning now, and I actually have a bunch of fry over there in the back corner.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see in that back corner there's a bunch of Brochardi fry. So, so far so good. Healthy fish. These Brochardi actually came from Ocean Aquarium.
Yeah, we just went there today, so I don't know if that'll be out by the time you see this, but I'll link to the old Ocean Aquarium video if the new one's not out by this, because it's my favorite store.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, yeah, it's a fun tank.
Let's check out what else you got.
Aquaponics, although it's not a great day to see outside. Yeah. And I did a little pruning of the bed. I ripped out a bunch of stuff recently, and I'm going to replant some strawberries and stuff in there. So not a lot going on with plants, but basically this is just kind of a self-sustaining system where the fish eat, the fish poop, the poop feeds the plants filter the water, and it goes back in.
It's pretty cool if you're getting strawberries out of there.
Yeah, strawberries, green onions, thyme, mint.
Wow.
Trying some tomatoes, but they're not doing so great. We had strawberries, lettuce last year, and I don't have to do water changes on this tank.
Nice.
So I just have to top off.
Nitrates stay low.
Nitrates stay really low. Yeah, it's almost. I tested a bunch, and they were 5 or less.
How long has this system been running?
I think I built it in June of last year or May, so over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have not done a water change since maybe October.
Nice.
And we're almost in July. So, I mean, I've topped it off, and obviously when it rains, but yeah.
Not bad for a balcony in San Francisco.
That's right.
You got to get a pond somehow.
Get a pond somehow. And then this is just a little empty dog crate that I turned into a grow bed.
Nice.
And I just water that with fish waste water.
Nice.
So lettuce and kale and stuff.
That's what I'm into, using the fish water again for a second purpose.
Yeah.
All right, let's check out the next tank.
These are the Mbuna. So sometimes they're super shy, sometimes they're super bold. Looks like they're bold right now.
Yeah.
And these are my most aggressive eaters. I call them my piranha, so I can stick something in there and they'll attack it. This is a 65, kind of an unusual size tank. It's the same dimensions as a 40, but taller.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people say that you want a 4-foot tank for African cichlids. I would agree that 4 foot is better. Yep. This used to be a planted aquarium with angels and rummy-nose and corridors and everything, and then I went full African with it. But what I have found with Mbuna is they do better than peacocks with the shorter width because they go up and down more. Yeah. And they go in and around rocks and stuff, whereas the peacocks are open water swimmers, so they like that open space and they need that length. But the Mbuna kind of go up and down and diagonally and all over the place. So it's a little on the overstock side. I do.
What's the water change on this one?
Same.
Yeah,
it's like 76. Yeah, twice a week. On this tank, hang on the back, sponge pre-filter, and then I've got a sump underneath.
Yeah, you got sumps everywhere.
Yeah, you know, it's a great way to filter your tanks. Extra water volume and hide equipment. Lots of surface area for bacteria, but overstock for me works because I feel like it cuts down in aggression.
Sure.
It does create more maintenance. So if you are going to overstock, you got to be up on the water changes. You can't be lazy and wait every 2 weeks because you're going to have 80 parts per million nitrates and unhealthy fish. So I do have a female holding in there. I actually got to catch her and pull her out. And then there are a couple fry in there.
Will you just leave the fry, or are you going to try and catch those as well?
I don't know. I might leave them alone. I try to, every time I find a female for sure, I'll pull her out and keep her out.
Okay.
So little by little, I've dwindled down the amount of females in here, trying to keep it mostly male.
Yeah.
So
keep it manageable.
But you can see she's got a mouthful of eggs. So I gotta, catching fish in this tank is difficult because of the rock work. So in the past, I've had to empty everything out, bring the water down to 8 inches or so, and catch them. But
take it all out and do your water change. Yeah.
yeah. So
awesome.
But yeah, it's a fun tank, and you know, it's again colorful to look at, and the activity.
They're always moving.
Yeah, always moving.
All right, well, that's Tazawa's Tanks Fish Room Tour. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you check out his channel. We'll put a link at the end. Just one little click and you're there, and you can check out all of this stuff more in depth because he's been doing videos on it for years at this point. So thanks for having us over, and till you're on the Real Fish Talk again.
All right.